Service Alliance community. How y'all doing today? Alongside of me, we got brother Doug. What is up, my brother?
Good morning, Zach. We're in gray today.
Yeah, we are. We're very gray.
Is that our feelings today?
I don't know. Maybe it's a reflection of the day outside. I haven't looked outside my cave yet, so
We'll find out by the end of this morning grind where our vibe is at, right?
we will. We will.
All right.
Good morning, Adam. Good morning. Good morning. You ever have one of those days where you just feel like you got nothing done? Is that like every Monday for you in the office?
No. It's those days come up on me and they usually surprise me. Like every day I think it's going to be a productive day, except the weekends. You know, like do you dig doing stuff around the house and making things and fixing things? You don't. All right. You know, so some weekends I feel bad. It's like I should have been a condo owner. Everything is kind of upkept, but I'm not passionate about that stuff. And there's so many of our friends, you know, in our community that love to do that stuff. So I'm just wondering if I paid for their airfare and hotel, if they would do some of those fun things for me.
Listen, I'm not gonna lie. I'm spoiled. My father-in-law comes, he mows the grass. Like he is your typical lawn dad. Like he's that guy.
Yeah.
And I am not. Both of my parents came from farm families, and so grass is a chore, right? Yeah. It's just one more thing to do.
Sure.
And so grass is a chore.
Yeah.
I don't care about it. If it was a dirt lot, I'd be fine.
Yeah. No, I think, we're actually going to talk about this today, but, you know, the time that we have awake every day, you know, you've got to divide that up. And we've always kind of took family time as a pretty high priority. But then when you're a service technician on the road and during the busy season, that's a real hard thing to try to divide up. And then you got to make sure your marriage is safe and sound and that you have to have date nights and quality time. And so it's always been juggling that. So I've never developed a great habit of hobbies and projects because of that, you know. So I don't know. I'm getting older and now my kids don't even really want to hang out with me. So there is no excuse. I need to become a woodworker and hope that I don't come out with like a missing thumb or something like that, you know.
Doug, if you weren't a woodworker, you should probably just like ease into that, buddy.
Think so? Yeah. Okay. All right.
I won't bring it up, but just let's just ease into that.
Into the woodworking thing?
Yeah, let's just ease into it.
That's what my wife said when I told her how much we need to get set up equipment wise so that I can become the man that I'm supposed to be. And she saw the prices, said, no, it's okay if you want to be a woman. And I was like, I don't know how to take that. Like, I don't know. You know?
Oh, boy almighty. Yeah, it's figuring out where your focus needs to be at which moment is a juggling act for sure.
Yeah.
You're in the season where your kids don't want to hang out with you, and I'm in the season where I'm taking that because I know that season is coming.
Yeah.
Like my daughter is 7. She wants to snuggle up in the chair. Like she wants to show me her Pokemon cards, right? Like, sure. And so I'm embracing that season.
Smart man, Zach. Smart man.
Yes, as much as I can, but it's hard, right? And that's what we're going to talk about today is where that focus kind of goes as it applies to business, as it applies to marriage, as it applies to family, just kind of running the gambit there. So I'm going to pray us in, brother.
Absolutely. Good morning, Lord. You are the creator of time and purpose and existence. And so we need to come to you humbly each day and honor you and praise you and thank you for the good days and the bad days and the days filled with productivity and the days filled with what appears to be a waste. Lord, we just pray that we can worship you each moment in spite of what's going on and that we can see good in all that happens around our lives. And Lord, I lift up our Facebook community, our appliance community, each and every one of them, their faces and names are flashing before my eyes. I am so grateful, Lord, for all these people who genuinely seem to care for one another. And I love, Lord, and thank you for all the words of encouragement that happen through the Appliance Alliance page. And Lord, we just thank you that we're all servants to help build each other up each day. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. So, starting this topic off, I kind of put it in the teaser. Have you ever had just like a seemingly rash of bad customers or,
Sure.
Whatever, right? And the reality is that is a byproduct of what you are focused on. And so, in my experience in the appliance world, I would focus on, man, these customers, like, why it seems like this guy is crazy and like nothing we do can satisfy them. And this customer, like, you can tell that they're trying to scam the insurance company. And this customer wants me to do it for, $3. Like, why do we keep getting all these customers?
Yeah.
And it's because the focus was so on that, right? And as we step outside of that and begin to focus on these other things, these things that we do want, right? All of a sudden it starts coming. Oh, hey, I got an onslaught of LG compressor jobs. Like, I'm booked out for a week and a half, 2 weeks on just LG compressor jobs. Like, what's going? Because I'm focusing, I'm putting my energy into that, right? And I'm sure you've had that happen in your business to some extent, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I do think that at times you do get a little rash of them, and it's really kind of just coincidence. But for me, the way to survive, especially when I was a technician on the road, it's the same as a general manager running 16 techs and 80 to 100 tickets a day. It's the same thing. Like, I remember being on the road and using up all my GE motherboards, start relays, couplers, bake igniters, and having like a $10, $11, $12,000 week and going, I'm going to kill it this year. And then the next week, it's like a callback from 3 months ago or 2 months ago, added to a bunch of walks and some do-it-yourselfers. And boy, oh boy, could that just change your mindset if you start to believe that this is a real trend or that this is real life.
And then it becomes a trend, right? It's almost a
self-sustain trend. And that's what I was going to say to you. I think that I agree mostly, but to say that it's not a trend until you start to buy into it, right? And so for me, every time a crazy customer happens, and there are times like Jay will call in every once in a while and go, so how's things going? I'm like, Jupiter, Mars, and Venus are all lined up, man. No, it is next to impossible to make anyone happy. And that's a joke. That's not true. But those few customers take a ton of your energy, and they really do challenge you to question what you do. And if you don't know yourself and you don't know your company and your purpose well, you can be shaken by people who are just getting what they want. But if you know who you are and you know what you do, and you evaluate and question your decisions quickly and move on, you got to move on. Can't take it personally, right?
Yeah.
It's very survivable for sure.
It does begin to drain you, and it does begin to become a self-fulfilling prophecy. And that was my point. Like, it's not that it, one of the phrases that I heard a long time ago, it's a bad day. It's not a bad life.
That's right.
Like, it's just a bad day.
Yeah.
And the reality to that statement is exactly what you said. If you continue to focus on that, if you continue to pour all your energy into that negative, right, that's what's going to continue coming back to you.
Yeah.
And that's the title of the video. Where your focus goes, there your energy flows. And if you're so focused on the negative, that's where your energy is going, and that's what's flowing back to you, is that just that total negative energy.
You can't make a decision or business decision or change based on a negative. If your feelings are in a negative space, you need to kind of step outside of the situation and say, is this legitimate? Is this real? Could this happen again? Probably not. All right, then we need to move on. And again, I think if you add any descriptive words to your mind or thoughts about that customer who just made your day a little worse, if you focus on labeling them a certain way, I mean, I just let go of somebody a few weeks ago that just more times than not had something negative to say about our customers. And she just was a strange duck in our world. And she didn't line it. She wasn't the right person. She wasn't the right person in the right place. And that is a real dangerous thing to have, is people that are speaking in your ear and you're not really listening, but you're hearing it. It will start to permeate your soul as well, for sure.
It does. It does. You got to pay attention to who's in your circle and who's in your corner, which kind of heads into the next piece. So we've talked about that from just like an overall business perspective, but who's in your corner? Who's speaking into your life, right? And so being in a mastermind, you have a group of people around you that all have a common focus, all have common goals. They want to grow. They want to make the world around them a better place. They want to serve their customers well. They want to serve their teams well, like all these things, right? They want to grow as people. And so as you have that as your circle, your focus and your energy is going into that. And there's a good energy that comes back out of
it. Well, there are people who know exactly what you're going through because it's happened to them, but it didn't happen to them right then and there. And so for them, it's not personal. For you, you might make it personal. Like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this employee keeps doing this. I can't believe these customers are like this. It's not personal to me. So I might just say, I've been through that, but I think you need to move on. And that is a great inner circle to remind you that the sky is not falling, right? Even though it feels like it. It does feel like it. I've come to you, Zach, you're in my inner circle, buddy. I've come to you and said, oh man, I think I'm a fraud, and I think this is a paper house that I've created, or house of cards. And you talked me off the ledge, and then a week later, things are running better. And so I'm not sure exactly when I'm lying to myself. Is it really running better? I'm just kidding. But
that is such a reality. You need people that can step in and intercede for you, that can genuinely be in your corner and go, listen, it's all right. Here's how I'm seeing this situation. Kind of help you remove yourself from that situation, right?
Of course, what we all want to do, I think, is graduate to the next level where you're the steady person that knows that these things happen and come and they pass as fast as they come, and that we develop as mentors and leaders the ability to talk other people off the ledge more often than we're ever talked off. So we need to graduate to that next level. And so you got any recommendations, Zach, from your own personal experience, how to sort of develop a pattern in your own way that you can, quickly overcome some of these strange situations where people around you definitely mull in it too long? Do you have any kind of habits or patterns to help you kind of break past that negative, false narrative?
For me, it is more connecting with people, right? More often than not, I can't pull myself out of my own muck.
Gotcha.
And so it's having a conversation with Doug, where Doug is the one pulling me out. And then maybe I'm having a conversation with EJ, and I'm the one pulling EJ out of the muck. Now, here's what that does. Mentorship is a two-way street. So as you are being mentored, you should be mentoring someone. As you are receiving advice, you should be sharing advice from your experience. And what that does is that's that constant push me, pull you.
Yeah.
And that's the only way to develop or level up, as Doug was saying, right? It's a constant and continual process. Like, you're never done with that. You're never like, oh, I'm a mentor, so I don't need this. Like, it doesn't end.
Right.
and I think that's where so many employees and so many leaders fall short is they fail to see that process has to continue. It's indefinite.
Well, I mean,
right?
can you be like a master craftsman and not touch it for 10, 15 years? I think you got to, like, the point you're making is that you kind of got to continue in that craft, whether you're a ninja or a woodworker or whatever it is. You can't just become great at it and then stop. And so I love what you were talking about, because it is easier for me. So that when you and I read the book, The Four Agreements, and then of those four sort of areas, not taking anything personally and assuming the best of others, it kind of comes easy to me. It doesn't always, but when it doesn't, I find myself get stuck in the mud with this. But for every time that happens, there's 8 or 10 other times that God has put in my life managers and people around me that I could say to them, like just before we came on, my office managers calling in and going, "Oh man, this person called out sick Monday morning yesterday, and today now it's the other person." And one of the questions I asked her, and I'll follow up, obviously we were about to come online, but is, how did that make you feel? Because if she's feeling like it's her fault and she's taking it personally, and she thinks that that she's letting me down, this is a whole bunch of fake news and negative energy that she does not need to decide how do you take care of people who are struggling to come to work consistently. So not taking it personally and assuming the best. I send that out. Matter of fact, they don't roll their eyes yet because they like me. But I think some of my managers will be like, I know, take it personally. And I go, am I lying? Is that not true? And they're like, no, it's true. I'm just pissed that it's easier for you to do it than me. And I go, it's just practice. It's just practice, So.
Well, and that's the reality of it, right?
Like
that's
right?
That's why you are the ninja of not taking it personally, right? Because you practice it, and you have practiced it, and you continue to practice it.
Even with Rob Jones, I don't take things personally. Absolutely.
But so what I was saying is that's a new experience for me, not taking it personally, because that wasn't the way that I was raised. That wasn't like the world that I was in. But the more that I am around you, the more that I am able to not take these things personally, the more that I am able to kind of remove myself from those situations. And that's that constant push me, pull you. Like you shared, I helped you through situations, right? Well, that was something that I was more of a ninja at than you, and you're more of a ninja at the, not taking it. So we get to go back and forth.
Listen, Zach, I will be able to hit my book reading goal this year for the first time in my entire life. Not that I ever had a goal until recently, but thought it was impossible. But, thanks to your inspiration and your nudging and just, what it really is, it's not you're a nag, but you're just really great at causing me and inspiring me to want to stretch and grow my brain. Even though it seems like it's a lot of work, and of course it's getting easier. And so I guess that's what I'm hoping I'm doing with the people at my office, right? My managers. I'm hoping that I'm making it easier for them as well, just through it, and being encouraged by me. So.
That's awesome. Yeah, Saul sidetracked me. Cuban coffee is the only thing I take personal, and Connecticut. He's picking on Connecticut already.
So, I'm flying down.
Oh boy, almighty! So that just threw me off. No, so and then with focus, we go into our families. How often in the trades or in the office positions, right, do we end up taking our families for granted because we get so laser focused on the task at hand, and then everything else just kind of falls by the wayside, right? And we see a divorce rate that's just like through the roof. We see splintered families. We see kids that just are like estranged from parents. And it's because our focus is in the wrong place, right?
Those are heartbreaking things to think about, because fixing appliances, and it's you guys, the Rob Jones and Sauls of the world, you guys are like, what, you're 12, and so now it's like mandatory 7-hour work days, and you guys work so hard. But back in the day, you really did put in 12-hour plus days. And what were you doing it for? It wasn't the excitement and the dynamic greatness of fixing appliances. You're doing it for your family. But if you weren't balancing your family, then you lost your family for a job that you're probably not even that excited and passionate about, but you're doing it. So it's a really nauseating, terrible cycle. And you just have to do your best, man. You have to almost speak it out loud to your spouse and say, for this season of my life, as I'm, earning my way through the chain of this company, or till I get the company up and running in an employee or two, then I'm going to be able to dedicate time to the family. But you got to be intentional about it, right?
And you have to realize it's a season. And we'll dig into that more in the book that we're kind of pulling the topics from, and you can't read it. Be Great in Business Ground Rules, 100 Lessons for Success. They show it as a circle graphic: financial, physical, home and family, education, spiritual, and social. Yeah. Right. And so that's the reality, is that that wheel, we're always like pointing in different directions with our focus. And that's kind of what you were talking about, Doug. Mm-hmm. Why did I put in 12, 14, 16-hour days? Well, I say it was for betterment of whatever, right? Whether it was to grow a business or the reality is, more often than not, and this is a blanket statement, so don't, crucify me on this, but it was the financial, right? We so many of us are used to the breadwinners being the breadwinners, right? Like, we bring home the money, we provide for the family, and this is how we provide for the family, and this is the way that we do it, because that's how we were conditioned. Yeah. But we forget that part of caring for our families is caring for our families and being present, right? And so that's the other side of the coin. And to your point, you do have to speak it out loud, and you do have to make it clear, right? I couldn't have done what I did with the appliance repair business if I didn't have my wife by my side. And when I made the decision to close, we were both there together going, this is not what either of us want. Like, this is not the direction we ever thought this was going to go. This is not what we want for our family, and we are not going to do this anymore. This season is over. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And so as I'm building in the flooring business and helping my friend grow his company, and I'm sharpening my skills in operations and leading people, right? We have come to the realization, and we continue to have to say it, this is a season. This is a season. This is for a time, right? Yeah. So when I work 2 weeks straight, 15-hour days, like, that just don't end, and I'm just laser focused on that, and then I take a full day off, literally turned off my phone last Friday, did nothing last Friday, and I spent time with my family. Because we continually together realize this is a season, and this is what we've chosen. Yep. So it is important to speak it out loud. It is important to clarify,
and make it a priority and not a consolation. I've been trying to instill that in my service manager as well. Having regular meetings with the technicians face to face or Zoom, just to see how they're doing, kind of KPIing them. If he has to go meet somebody to bring him a part or to help him get a wall oven out, and he touches all the points that he normally would in a KPI, if he's checking that off as I did it, it's technically not done, in my opinion. When you tell somebody, hey, in a week and a half or this Wednesday coming up, you and we're going to meet and hang out. And I just want to see how you're doing. That is intentional. That is prioritizing, and that is scheduling. Same thing goes with your family. It's a beautiful thing to be able to have a last minute impromptu day off, but make sure that you also do those ones where you're kind of telling your wife and your daughter, hey, this is going to be our day coming up. That just changes the whole mindset. It makes it more special, and they know where your priorities lie. So it's important.
In our case, if both of them weren't sick, we would have been at the zoo because it was very intentional. Like,
yeah,
okay, we're 7 days into me working nothing but 15-hour days.
that's right.
And next Friday, we are intentionally just like unplugging.
Sure.
You can have the phone. I'm not touching it. Like, someone needs me, they can call you, and they are not going to need me. So I'm not going to answer. It has to be intentional. You have to have the impromptu is great, but you do have to have those very intentional moments.
Sends a message. And of course, making the day of something terrible like getting sick on one of those. I think I have a memory of like two of us getting sick. My wife and one or two of my kids. One kind of sick and one. So anyway, we were supposed to go somewhere, and it was going to be fun. So I think we ended up like delivering in food like 5 or 6 times that day. We watched movies and played games, and I am pretty sure we sunk like a few $100 just like they just couldn't believe it because my wife is such a chirper about saving money. So like when we were ordering more food to the house for like the 5th time in that whole long day of being cooped up in a house, they just thought that was Disney World. You know what I mean?
I love it.
So yeah. So you can always make greatness out of those situations, but being intentional.
And that's what we did, right? We rented a movie on the whatever, I don't know, Apple or Amazon Prime or whatever it was. And my daughter brought me every board game that we have in the house, and as a family we play, So, but you have to have those intentional moments, and again, it's seasons, right? We come back to this. Doug is talking about like I need to find some hobby, right? He mentioned that earlier in the episode because like my kids don't want to hang out with me, and I'm in the season where. Like my daughter really wants to hang out with me, so I better enjoy that. And so life is a series of seasons.
Yep.
And so treat each season as such, and focus on the things that are important in.
Have you seen Rob Jones's YouTube station?
No.
He has a station where he's in relationship with 3 of his bicycles, and they talk to him. Now we can't hear him. We can't hear the bikes talking, but you can basically understand the love conversations he's having with his bicycles in his YouTube channel. So look for it. It's Rob Jones all wheeled up. Yeah.
You guys and picking on each other. Doug, Apple or Amazon Prime. It's like Blockbuster, but without VHS.
Hey, Blockbuster warms my heart. Don't do that, man.
Oh my goodness gracious. So, and then the last thing that I wanted to focus on, and this is a business topic. You ever struggle to find employees? I mean, like that's a nonstop process, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. But how often is our mindset off when we're focusing on employees? What are we actually focusing on when we're hunting for that next person to be a part of the team? And so as I experience it in the floor store, Matt's like, oh, salesmen are impossible to find. You can't find them. And it's the worst position to fill. And, he's just like all negative. I'm like, whatever. I think it's easy. I think that we can make this happen. Because there's no reason we can't. We're good at what we do. We care about people. We care about customers. And that's attractional to people that want to be better, right? And we're always pushing ourselves. So, yeah, I'm going to focus on that. So I did focus on that.
Yep.
I put up an ad literally that day. Hey, I'm looking at making a change. I'm just kind of tired of being stuck in the rut that I've been stuck in. Sends an application. Yep. Let's have a conversation. right? Like, so, and just the more intentional you are in that process, the more intentional and clear you are on what you're focusing on, the more likely that energy is to flow back. It doesn't mean it's going to happen every time, right? Doug is crazy positive, and it's still a nightmare to find employees.
Oh, it is. But if you in your heart, because your part of your job, I think, is trying to help Matt build the infrastructure of his business. And it's not unreasonable for him to go, yeah, I've tried that. Those are hard to find. Don't waste your time there, Zach. That's the point of bringing in a Zach from the outside, because you're going to have a different vantage point. I mean, I'm looking forward to getting a business coach that, can just come in from left field and say the dumbest things. And my first thought will be like, oh, this person's clueless. They don't know about the appliance business. And then when I overcome that stupid thought, be open-minded to hearing that. And then great things come from ideas that come from left field. So I love it, man, and I would have believed Matt until, this past year, finding 5 technicians with 0 experience, and they're all still with us, bringing in great money to, for first year technicians, $5,000 plus every week. I'd have to eat my own hat. I'd have to eat my own hat. So I'm afraid to say something absolute like it's impossible. Life's a science experiment. Go for it. Try it. Right.
100%. And Saul, I mean, here's the reality. This guy is on LinkedIn, like champion on LinkedIn. It's like, my feed is filled with Saul commented and Saul liked Saul. But he says he searches for people skills over anything else. He can teach the rest. And that's the reality, right? If you can't teach the soft skills, you can't teach the leadership skills. You can't, I mean, like, that stuff is learned over time, but it's not something that like you or I can teach. We can model that for someone. So if you look for those soft skills, you look for those leadership skills that are inherent in people. I always used to joke, I can teach any idiot to turn a wrench. Like, it's really not rocket science, guys. Like, it's really not. But the people skills, being in the homes and caring for the customers and hearing what is actually behind why they want that machine fixed, like, that's, you just can't teach that. That is experience. That is modeled for you by watching a mentor do that. That's something that happens over time.
I mean, those are wise words from Saul. And really, Rob?
Hey, I left it alone, but he brought it up. So
those are wise words from Saul, and about, finding the people with the right skills, and then teach the rest. But I think what this kind of lines up with the Saul that we've known over hanging out on the grind is he's not afraid of hard work. And training somebody from scratch is hard work. And that's just not typically how we complain. Talking with another appliance guy, and he says, oh, I train all my guys from scratch. In my head, I'm going, I don't have time for that. That's just too much work. I'm not going to say that out loud. I don't want to, and I might even be being in denial with myself. But that is the feeling, the overwhelming feeling, is that you got to start from scratch. But you know how hard it is to get rid of somebody who isn't drinking the Kool-Aid and is only mechanically inclined and can turn a wrench? They're doing more damage. So do it the right way, right out of the gate, and so I don't know. I mean, and listen, a pair of needle nose pliers, it can get the job done a lot of the times. So you needle nose naysayers, whatever.
Says the 4-fingered Doug. The 4-fingered Doug, right? Yeah. Oh man. I think we've covered at least a broad overview of this topic. It's important to be intentional with where our focus is going. Otherwise, we get what we get, right? If you just kind of like shotgun it, what comes back is maybe not what you want. So be intentional with where your focus is going. And I know we'll talk about it more for sure on Thursday. That's what I got for the day.
Well, have a great day. Saul, don't choke on a coffee bean. Rob, if your bike breaks down and you need a pair of needle nose, I got them for you.
All right, family, get out there, love your customers well, and serve your communities well. Have a good day, guys.
Thanks.